The Hangar Z Podcast welcomes the entire crew of the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour. Every single person we had contact with treated us wonderfully.
Yeah.
I mean, just professional, helpful. What can we do for you? Do you need anything? It was just a wonderful experience. They treated three dumb retired cops like we were royalty.
And that's not to discount or disparage any other unit that we've worked with. They all help us out to what we need, but there's certain ones that there's something different. It just goes, it's almost like they sent out a memo that, hey, these guys are coming, be nice to them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. You can tell it's genuine, and that it's
genuine.
It's just part of the way they treat their customers.
Welcome back to the Hangar Z Podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicast and partnered with Vertical Valor Plus. On this special episode, we have the entire crew from this year's Blades of Valor Tour. This is a wrap-up episode to show you how Brent Bundy, photographer and editor-at-large, Scott Kellerman, Coast Guard pilot full-time but part-time videographer and photographer, Jon Gray, podcast creator, and myself got all the content for the Blades of Valor Tour. We're going to talk about the cooperation of units, the fun we had, the content that we got in photography, print, video, and podcasting, and did it all in a short period of time in Florida. We had a great time. We want to share it with all of you, how this happens. Mike Reno even joined us on the last stop in Clearwater. So with that said, sit back, enjoy the stories behind the Blades of Valor Tour. Thank you to our sponsors, Shotover Systems, CNC Technologies, and Airbus.
Welcome to the Hangar Z Podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z Podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like you're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, through the shotgun, through something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
Let's jump ahead now. 2026 comes around and we decide on Florida. And so now the challenge is, okay, we want to do 4 units in Florida. Who? I mean, there's so many in Florida. How are we going to do this? So we put our heads together and we came up with a plan. And next thing you know, we had our units picked and we call Scott and say, Scott, you're in Florida. And as a matter of fact, U.S. Coast Guard's one of our picks. What do you think? And Scott helped make that happen. And we wanted Scott to get involved with us as well. He is a very talented photographer, videographer. We knew that. We've known that since we've known him. And he jumped in to the team. So the 4 of us that are sitting here right now started the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour, sponsored by Switlick Survival Systems, Dallas Avionics, and Aviation Specialists Unlimited, who made it all possible, and supported by Massif through the flight suits. And off we go. And next thing you know, we're in Palm Beach, Florida with Lieutenant Drew Nicoletti taking good care of us. And Scott met us there. What are your memories of Palm Beach County, our visit there, Scott? It was your first time with the Blades of Valor team, seeing us work and working with us and working with Palm Beach. So you were like the new guy in quotes. What were your first impressions?
I knew there were a lot of inside jokes, a lot of things. That first night at dinner, I knew I was in for a treat. There were a lot of things going on there. So
where was dinner, Scott? Where was dinner that night?
We were at a Cuban place, I think, right?
Right. That was not Texas Roadhouse. We went to the Cuban place.
So are they interested in sponsoring us? It was good Cuban food.
Yeah, I think I was feeling myself out and figuring out how things were going. But my goodness, what an experience. It was also unseasonably cold. It was freezing. It was snowing, I think, the day before up in up northern Florida near Jacksonville. So these flight suits, you thought you were going to be boiling in Florida, actually worked out. I think I threw my windbreaker, my Gore-Tex over the top of this because it was that cold that morning, first day of shooting. So yeah, it was an experience. That was an agency that really surprised me to see all the things that they're doing, getting to know Drew a little bit better. And in subsequent times, I've met up with him up in St. Augustine for the shoot I did a couple months ago. Just an incredible agency doing a ton of different things for their county.
Yeah. And as a photographer, videographer that was with us, talk about the air-to-air stuff and the ground-to-air and air-to-ground that you were involved in, and getting content and your feelings about that.
I distinctly remember Brent and I are in the aircraft and we look at each other, and we were maybe only like halfway through the first day of shooting, and we're like, we've already gotten enough to do what we need. And we're like 25% complete with this. So it was just the number of things that Drew had lined up between the fast roping over on that little island right to the north of where the airport was at, which that island itself is kind of a unique place of what it used to be as I think it was like a fallout bunker for President Kennedy, to doing that, to doing some of the gun work out into the Everglades, and just the stuff up and down the beach line. It was awesome. And to have 3 up aircraft so that we could get the 2 in formation, and it was all just so smooth and seamless. When you talk about safety briefings, they were extremely deliberate.
Incredible safety brief.
Yeah. One of the best I've been through.
Yes. I mean, with magnetic helicopters on the board, as I recall, and boats, and Drew's gifted at that. I mean, it's the military side of him coming out. He's gifted at that, and it really was impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it was, go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to throw out to Scott that, as he also, we usually when we're doing air-to-air shoots, we're doing it solo. Photography, videography, we're usually by ourselves. So I've had the opportunity to work with Lloyd on year 2, and now Scott on year 3. And it is such an incredible relief to go into a situation like that, to see the professionalism of the pre-brief that Drew did there before our flight. Again, to possibly the best one I've ever sat through, but then to be able to work with somebody who works as professionally as Scott does, and it makes the difference. It's like we split tasks, and we had a common goal, but Scott did a lot of the video while I was doing photography, or I was doing social media content for it. And so it makes a difference in having a professional crew that you're flying with, but to have somebody that works as professionally as Scott and Lloyd sitting next to you, or sometimes we're stacked on top of each other trying to get coincidental shots. That just, again, it's back to comfort. It takes any anticipation you have of how things are going, it throws it out the window, because you know it's going to go exactly how you want it in those situations when you have that person sitting next to you working with you.
I was going to say, it's funny. I felt the urge a couple times, because a lot of times when, like you said, I have like my camera's custom programmed to switch between photo and video very quickly. And I felt the urge to want to do that a couple times. Like, no, it's okay. Like I can just focus on this one thing. So it was the division of labor, and to have that clone of me to have an even way better than me just right there, and just getting to pick the brain of Brent, who's been doing this for so long and is so great at what he does. It was, for me, it was a huge learning experience of just positioning and things that I hadn't thought of, because a lot of times this is such an independent thing. To then be a part of a group and to see that other perspective was really a treat.
And I think it came to fruition on the fast rope there, Scott, when we did that fast rope to that island. That was kind of a sort of a spur of the moment type thing. We didn't really have so much of a plan of what we were going to do, but as soon as we got down there, again, our creative minds work together, and you're shooting video of them coming down. I'm working safety for you so you can walk backward. It melded together so well that's again, it's that team effort. And meanwhile, while we're out doing that, Jon and Jack are back getting incredible podcasts. So it's that team effort that just brings everything together.
It really was a team effort there. And I don't want to jump ahead, but I will say later in the trip with the Coast Guard, there was 3 professional photographers, videographers in the back of that Black Hawk. And then Jon and I also documenting what you're doing. I mean, there was 5 of us back there, plus a crew chief.
Yep.
And it was fun to watch. I mean, it was fun to watch. So I understand, when you said, wow, we're usually alone and now we're with somebody else. And then eventually it was 3, 4, 5. You guys did a phenomenal job. Jon, what else did you have for Palm Beach?
gosh, we show up and there's a presidential TFR ongoing, and that showed the level of involvement that Palm Beach has in that presidential TFR and in that mission. That was our first exposure to what was going on. It was really impressive,
Yeah.
So we walk into their hangar, and their hangar is impressive. We sit down, SWAT operators walk in. There's a whole briefing room full of folks that are going to be a part of what we're about to embark on. And then you guys go and do that first mission with the fast roping, and I just happened to see that repurposed through Bell online this week. It's really cool to see, not just what we think is outstanding content, but obviously it's resonated with the community, and it's gone beyond us, which is really, really cool. It speaks to your guys' ability and talents. And I guess to follow up on that, whether it was year one going to Oxford or this last year going to any of the agencies we went to, you walk in the front door and it's like you got the swagger, because I feel like we're with the world's best, whatever the thing is. You got Brent, Scott, Lloyd, Jack. You walk in and there's no disputing that the job's going to get done with the folks that are here. And not only is it going to get done, it's going to get done in the highest quality and professional manner that there possibly is in the industry. So the level of confidence that I walk into these agencies with is just phenomenal. I don't know if you agree with that, Jack, or what your thoughts are surrounding that.
I'll just say 100%, John. 100%. It's a good feeling. I mean, when we walk in there and we're in our flight suits representing Vertical, man, we know that we have to uphold that reputation of Vertical, and we've all taken that on with pride and joy. And it just, there's something about it. They know too, when we walk in, wow, look at these guys, and they're ready. They're carrying all these Pelican boxes, and they're bringing donuts, and they, it's just a good feeling. I agree with you 100%. That was a good first stop. Oh, and we forgot to mention iguanas dropping out of the trees left and right. And I mean, John and I got there the night before everybody else, and we went out to dinner. I'll never forget this, John. We went to dinner, and we came out, and we had every stitch of clothing that we had brought on, and we were freezing. The wind was howling, and we were freezing. We go, how are we going to do this? And when I say we, I'm talking about Scott and Brent. How are they going to fly in helicopters with open doors in these temperatures? Are they going to be prepared for this? And they got it done. And it got warmer each day the longer we were there. But that first day was a little chilly, wasn't it, boys?
Oh, it was chilly. Yeah. When you're hanging out the door of a Bell 429 at out over the water, it gets a little brisk.
It was. So we leave Palm Beach after a wonderful visit there. We could do a whole show talking about the backstories there, but we go down to Broward, and we decide through the coordination with the unit, the Broward County Sheriffs, that we're going to meet them in the Everglades at their airborne shooting platform training day. And we navigate through the Everglades and in the middle of nowhere.
Alligator Alley.
The Alligator Alley. And we end up at this location, and we pull into the parking lot, and there everybody is. There's SWAT guys and air crews. And so we started with their airborne platform shooting, which was very impressive. And that was our beginning. John, what do you remember about that opening day with Broward?
I remember being at the range and looking at the pond that existed behind the parking lot and thinking, gosh, my shooting range never had to worry about alligators.
Yes.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was a highlight, wasn't it? It's like, there's alligators in there? They go, well, you're in Florida. You're in the Everglades. Of course there's alligators in there. And next thing you know, Brent, get over here with your camera. And Brent's snapping pictures of this alligator. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was wild. But that was really cool. We got to hang out more than anything. Brent did some work that day. He went up and got some great stuff. One of my favorite clips of video is from that where Paul looks over his shoulder and gives you the hang loose, man, after he's on his shooting run. I love that clip. But most of that afternoon was us hanging out and talking and learning and figuring things out for the next day, which was the big day. And again, that was beneficial. But Brent, what do you remember from that day?
Well, in my time with Phoenix flying for them, I was one of our airborne shooting platform pilots. So I've been through that type of flying and that type of training before. These guys took it to a whole new level. They had their Bearcat out there dragging the hood from a vehicle or along at like 30 miles an hour while the helicopter's coming in fast and low so they can get the shots on it. And they're putting shots on target with accuracy that, as a shooter myself, was impressive. It was, I mean, I went up with a couple of the different guys, with Paul, and I went with a couple others, and the professionals, again, professionalism is a theme here, but the way that their pilots coordinate, the communication between the pilot and TFO, and then with the shooter in back, just amazing. It was very impressive to see that, and their nonchalanceness to the alligators. They didn't even care. The one came up out of that pond you're talking about, and we're taking pictures of it, and they're just looking over at him. Yeah.
Whatever.
I could never get used to that. But no, they were, Paul and the entire team there. They were just, and again, it harkens back to what you were talking earlier, Jack, about, or John, who you're saying about walking in, and we're all dressed similar. We're all got our gear. They know us. I mean, it was like, maybe it's an unspoken thing, but it's almost like they recognize that, and they know our backgrounds, and they welcomed us with open arms. It was, I mean, we walked right into the middle of a SWAT briefing for aerial shooting platform, and it was like they just like, hey guys, and they didn't skip a beat. They were just like, we were immediately part of the crew, and that's the way they treated us from the day we walked up to them out in the middle of the Everglades to the day we left them. They were that way.
And I will note that the theme of the alligators continued throughout the tour, with all the units saying, "Oh man, the alligators! When you do a rescue," and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." It's just it doesn't even faze them.
They were more worried about the mosquitoes.
Yeah, they
were
talking
about the mosquito attacks more so than the alligator attacks out in the middle of the Everglades.
That was absolutely true.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then the next day we went, obviously, to their facility and got the air-to-air and the podcast done. Really good. MRO podcast was done there. That was just a good stop. I mean, we learned a lot from a unit had a unique history. Really, really fascinating. Anything else about that one, John, that before we continue?
The one thing that kind of stood out was the division between their fire rescue program and their law enforcement program. Scott had just recently been out and had covered their fire rescue program. So that was really interesting. They're both doing outstanding work, both on the fire rescue side and the law enforcement side. Talking to the whole crew, from the new TFO that was there up to Carl, who was about to retire, and apparently he pulled the plug in retirement and has stayed. But it was an outstanding opportunity for us to get to know those folks and witness the good work they're doing.
Yes, and I'll just the other thing that comes to mind that I should mention is, Scott wasn't with us on that one. He had to go back and actually do his job. I don't know what he's doing that for when he could hang out with us, Texas Roadhouse and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, geez. But that was a fun visit. And I will, the thing that I was thinking about, very unique in that the fire is under the sheriff's department, right? Scott,
yes,
you covered that.
Yeah.
That's kind of unique.
Thank you to our sponsor, CNC Technologies. CNC Technologies, serving law enforcement, government, and military markets with tailored mission solutions, system training, and live 24/7 support with CNC.live platform. Explore more at cnctechnologies.com.
It is unique. I think it's an interesting thing. I think the guys really like that, at least on the fire rescue side, because I think it really, they're two very important units, but they're very different in what they do. And I think it helps them for to get the dollars that they need for the training. And I think it really helps them hone their craft, because they are that fire rescue is a very unique, the air ambulance component of what they do, to the hoist rescue program that they stood up last year, and the new aircraft that they have. It's a really unique mission set that they do, and I was really impressed just watching everything that they got to do, and just the progression when I was there with SR3 of where they came in that entire month. And I kind of caught them towards the end of that, to how they were able to basically get 3 full shifts doing urban search and rescue, going to the urban tower, doing building walks, which was, I've seen from my own side of doing that type of stuff that takes years of doing to see how quickly they were able to get ramped up. And they're continuing to do great work. They've had their first couple of rescues. They've done a lot of the first wildfire type suppression stuff that happened very recently within the last year. A very good program.
Well, and Jack, I know you're going to segue into our Metro Dade experience with them. And Jack and I got a chance to do a walk around.
We did.
Of that incredibly beautiful and well-equipped H-145 from Airbus that the fire department used. And if I'm not mistaken, the Broward County the patrol side of things, they are now, for more of a cohesiveness, they're looking at going to an all H-145 platform and possibly replacing those H-125s. And I think that's in part because they saw what you saw, Scott, and the what you can do with that H-145. And so their sheriff's like, man, I want my guys to be flying those all the time. So
they talked about that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I think they just want a cool paint job.
I think so too.
Because that paint scheme on the fire side, red and black. Oh, if you have not gone to the videos of the Blades of Valor Tour, oh my gosh, you have to. And look at Scott's work that he did with them. That is one of the prettiest paint jobs of any helicopter I've ever seen, and up close. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Yeah. I mean, it was like, hold it. What is going on with this paint? It kind of had a glitter to it. And it was just really unique.
Yeah.
Talk about well equipped. Yeah. Which takes us down the road at our next stop, Miami-Dade Fire. We wanted to get a fire in on this to the Blades of Valor. I believe this was our first fire unit that we covered. And we went to Miami-Dade Fire. And boy, oh boy, did we have a host at Miami-Dade Fire Air Rescue. Jason Van Buskirk, God bless America. He's a captain there. He opened the doors to us in a way that we had not experienced. I mean, it was very unique. They offered, I don't know even if you guys know this. I think you do. They offered to let us stay there at the hangar in like firefighters. I go, no, we don't hang with firefighters that much. No. But they offered that. It was incredible. Jason's an amazing man, very accomplished. We did multiple podcasts with him, one air-to-air, one airborne. But before we got to that, he arranged a fly-in of regional air assets to come in, and that was kind of for us. I mean, it really was. Yep. John, what do you think about that start that we had on the fly-in Super Bowl weekend?
It was wild. I mean, the level of cooperation we have gotten across the board is incredible. But Jason went above and beyond in bringing in all the regional assets that he did. For the benefit of, I mean, there was multiple benefits, right? There was training that took place. There was some networking that took place. But, it just so happened to coincide with our arrival and our presence there. It was really cool to document that, and just really neat to see that, I guess, idea and influence grow surrounding fly-ins,
And Brent got to do an air-to-air out of a Huey, which is his favorite platform to shoot from. Tell us about that, Brent.
Yeah, the thump, 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 that really helps with your photos.
I know that one well.
Oh, yeah. You're dropping you're changing your shutter speeds a little bit if you're shooting out of a Huey. That was, again, like John said, we've received incredible levels of cooperation at every single stop we've been to. And I don't want to necessarily single anybody out, but I'm gonna.
I know.
The level that Miami-Dade took things to was unprecedented. Like Scott mentioned earlier, at the one flight, we were like, we've got everything we need. We honestly could have said that after the first day with Miami-Dade. Yep. And they had an entire second day of just the things that they set up and for us to do in their Leonardo AW139s out over the bay, out over Biscayne Bay, out into the Everglades. It was one of the most fun couple of days of aerial shootings I've ever done. The fly-in itself, that say what you want, that was planned for us. Yep. Yes, they made it into, like you said, they made it into a training. They made other benefits for those units that arrived, and we had multiple units arrive. And again, it goes back to us having to be ready for anything. We were pretty much done for the day, just kind of planning what we're going to do the next day. And they're like, hey, we got a couple of Leonardo products here. You want to go do a air-to-air shoot of a 139 and an A119? It wasn't even on our radar. That was nothing that was ever planned. And again, the Florida Department of
Florida Forest Service. Yeah.
Florida Forest Service.
Yep.
They couldn't have been more excited for it. They had a somewhat newer pilot that they let fly the 119, who did an incredible job. And we were able to get both those Leonardo. There it is. Yes.
There it is. The cover shot
Shoots
was
like that.
Out of that.
Yes.
Cover shot that great. And that was a last minute. Hey,
Never
would you guys
planned.
like to do that?
Exactly.
And bam, out of a Huey.
Out of a Huey.
Brent.
And shoots like that, cover shots like that don't happen with inexperienced or, again, uncomfortable pilots. We were able to set that up. And again, it became a situation of they were asking me what more I wanted to do. And I'm like, guys, I've got everything. I've got everything I could need from this shoot. And again, the forestry guys, they're like, yeah, come back anytime. We'll do a full, we'll get you any more flights that you need. So it was just the level of, and that was day one.
Yeah.
That was our sort of bonus type unplanned day one before we came back for it was
the warm up.
It was.
And Scott was a no show.
Yeah.
Maintenance issue.
We did our best.
Scott, the Coast Guard was supposed to be there with Scott, but
Scott tried.
Yeah, you tried, and we appreciate that.
We pray to the maintenance gods, and that day was not in our favor. So, but safety prevailed. So,
yes.
Well, that visit continued. Now that was the fly-in, and then we went to Monday Super Bowl weekend. We went for out in the Everglades on an airboat. The three of us. That was awesome. Something I always wanted to do, and we had the time, and we were 5 miles from the place. Yeah, baby, we're going, and that was incredible. We saw so many alligators.
We stopped counting them, and we stopped counting the size of them. But I think the pinnacle of that, as we're coming back in, Jack, I believe it was you spotted something along the boat. They turned the boat around, and the guy driving the boat jumped out of it to grab a snake.
Yes, he did.
Where are we?
Snake. I couldn't believe it. That guy was wild, man.
Oh, he was crazy.
He talked about, when I see these snakes, got to jump out and see what it is. And I'm kind of a snake guy growing up, and I'm looking at going, I don't know what that is. I mean, and I know snakes pretty well. He didn't hesitate. I mean, did he know it wasn't poison? It wasn't a cottonmouth?
I don't think he cared.
I don't know. He jumped off that boat so fast, and there we are on the boat without a driver.
No driver.
Brent was trying to come over to take that driver's seat.
Oh, I was not ready to.
So bad.
I did want to drive an airboat.
That was a really cool thing. So we do have a little bit of fun on these tours too. But we're not just Texas Roadhouse either. No. I think we went to Texas Roadhouse that night. Texas Roadhouse, if you're listening, we've been to Texas Roadhouse as a team at least a half a dozen times, maybe more.
North of that.
I mean, sometimes 2 nights in a row. I'm just saying.
Soon to be 2 times in a day.
So we go back to Miami-Dade Air Rescue for our 2 days. We get multiple podcasts. This time, something unique. And John, I think you decided, well, let me back up a notch. They tell us they're going to take us up for a tour of their area of operation, which includes everything Brent mentioned, Biscayne Bay, Everglades, downtown Miami. I mean, it's everything. It's everything you can imagine in one flight. We're going to see their whole area of operation. And John goes, hey, how about we record this? That was a great idea, John, because that turned out 10 times better than I think you even pictured. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. It worked out great. I mean, the back of the AW139 is bigger than my living room. So the fact that you can sit back there, 4 people can sit back there and have a conversation is phenomenal. So the view that we set up wasn't intentional in the sense that I wasn't trying to get the shots of what we're flying over outside, but it happened. When you look at that video and that footage, that water's outstandingly beautiful, and so that came out really cool. But it worked out great.
It did. That was so much fun. And Jason, so easy to talk to. I mean, that was before, as I recall, we actually did the podcast with him the next day. And we just learned about Jason. And what a unique background, fascinating, just a special man. I truly mean that. And again, he treated us like gold. That turned out great. Once Brent found his headset, we were good to go. And so if you haven't watched the video of that, you have to watch. And Brent's looking for his headset. He's used to his wife putting his headset on for him in between packing his bags and all that. But that was a great visit. And the podcasts were fantastic. MRO side was fantastic. Make sure that you go back and look at all that. Anything else, Brent, from the visit with Miami-Dade, from the air to air, or anything from the photography, videography point of view?
No, it's back to what I said before. They were just the level that they went to. I mean, they set up a shoot in Biscayne Bay there with 2 helicopters, 4 Marine units flying across the bay so we could get these incredible photos and videos that, again, almost unprecedented in my experience. One of the best shoots one of the most fun shoots I've ever been a part of. And again, it was back to, again, what else do you need? I could start making things up at this point, but I've got more than I could possibly use. So they were absolute, that entire unit, from the guy who was cooking his stuff in the kitchen when we walked in the door to the pilots who took us on the flight, every single stuff.
Kid bringing the espresso.
Kid, yes, with his the Cuban coffee. It was every single person involved in that unit was stellar. And I will say one more point is back to the requirement for us to be flexible and to be there on site to see things, because one thing that, again, could not have planned it, could not have thought about it, but we're in the hangar, we see, an empty shell of an aircraft. Well, we start asking questions about it. What it is, it's an aircraft they're getting ready to mount at their ceiling and put a hoist in, onboard systems hoist on it, and it's going to be a training hoist unit that's sitting 30, 40 feet up in the air in their hangar. We end up doing another side article on that piece because it was such a unique thing that nobody else has.
Right.
And so that's, again, it's the purpose to be there to see those little extra things that you didn't really know about. And that's where you can really show the value that these units are providing to the public, but also in that case, the benefit that they're internally offering to their pilots, to their crew chiefs, to their hoist operators, to the guys riding the hoist. An incredible program that, had we not been there to see it firsthand, we never even would have known it existed.
Yes. Every single person we had contact with in that facility treated us wonderfully.
Yeah.
I mean, just professional, helpful. What can we do for you? Do you need anything? Where are you going to dinner tonight? What do you know where to go? Well, we're going to Texas Roadhouse. Oh, I mean, okay. I mean, it's like it was just a wonderful experience. They treated 3 dumb retired cops like we were royalty. And
there were police fire jokes, as I recall.
Yeah, there were a lot of police fire.
Yes,
and that's not to discount or disparage any other unit that we've worked with. They all help us out to what we need, but there's certain ones that just, there's something different. It just goes, it's almost like they sent out a memo that, hey, these guys are coming, be nice to them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. You can tell it's genuine, and that
it's genuine.
It's just part of the way they treat
it. Was genuine.
Customers.
I guess firefighters are just better humans than we are. And
we all
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain it. They treated us great. So we finish up Miami-Dade Air Rescue, and we load up the minivan, and now we're going to rehook up with Scott Kellerman, who has arranged at Clearwater Air Station for us to visit for a couple days. And again, we get the royal treatment, but we get to Clearwater late at night to our specially picked out selected accommodations, which on Vrbo just looked like dynamite.
Oh, amazing. Resort.
And we're meeting Mike Reno. Yeah. Mike Reno is already there, enjoying these accommodations before we even get to the town.
I was there, so we picked him up from the airport and took him. Yeah,
and we get there, and Scott, yes. So Scott, I'm getting there, Scott. So Scott is helping Mike get to the accommodations, and Scott is in disbelief that we're at this place. Go ahead, Scott. You can tell this first story here of the accommodations.
Hang on, Scott. What is the first thing you see as you're pulling into the neighborhood where we're staying?
There might have been a few roosters.
Thank you to our sponsor, Shotover. Shotover Systems is the leading developer and manufacturer of high-performance gyro-stabilized cameras with advanced real-time AR mapping and mission management, all backed by unparalleled custom training and support. Now offering the M2 multi-sensor system, sole 6-axis EO/IR platform with 4K Ultra HD color and infrared technology. Ideal for law enforcement and defense. Offered with real-time AR overlays to quickly identify streets, weather, and traffic. Automated license plate recognition, 24 megapixel digital photographs, and automated steering and tracking.
Well, no.
Before that,
The business. Right on the edge of the neighborhood, the bail bonds center.
Yes, there were bail bonds. I will say, for the record, because I look like a terrible host of giving recommendations, I have the emails. I will show you the 3 different hotels that I recommended, and they were not anywhere near. It was really great because I remember you guys gave me the address, and then I said, "You're like, is this a good place?" I'm like, "Well, it's close to work."
I do remember you telling us that. So it's kind of your fault, Scott.
So
in a way, it's kind of Scott's fault because he said it's close.
But we did arrive, and I think Mike did a double take on, is this the correct address? Are we sure we're at the right spot? We did the walkthrough of the place, and I remember him looking. He's like, "I think this is 4 bedrooms, right? This is definitely 4 bedrooms. I can't find the 4th bedroom." And then we had to go outside, and then we realized that the 4th bedroom was the garage, but you couldn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brent. You couldn't access that 4th bedroom from inside the house.
No, there was no exit. You had to go outside in the unlit backyard and then get in there. And yes, I did stay in bedroom number 4. Well, I'm pretty sure I had a couple of roosters in there with me that started their crowing about 3 a.m. every morning. So, it was lovely.
The first night I was tempted to leave on foot and go check into a hotel somewhere because I couldn't sleep because of roosters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My wife was yelling at me on the phone, "Just go call an Uber, go find a hotel. I don't care if you go to a Motel 5. It's going to be better than what you're in right now." So, yeah.
It was awful.
I remember texting Brian Smith because he worked for the agency covering that and lives nearby. And I said, "Hey, this is where we're staying at. What do you think?" And I think he said something like, "Yeah, I'd keep your doors locked." And I laughed. I thought he was joking until I turn on the street and there's a bail bond sign right there, and there's roosters everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you look at this house on VRBO, you go, dang, it's got a pool of sand volleyball.
Yep.
The kitchen is beautiful. The bedrooms look nice. 4 bedrooms, roomy. I mean, it looked good, and the price was good. Oh boy, that did not go well.
No, gators in the pool. They're growing corn in the volleyball court. It was, it was interesting.
It was awful.
Was one of the
Absolutely
listed amenities a pack of Marlboro Reds in your door, Brent?
No, but that was a bonus. That was included. Yeah.
What else, Brent? Was something with a light with the plugs?
No,
what was that?
You had a choice if you wanted to use the TV or the air conditioning.
Oh, that's
because there were only batteries for one remote, so you had to switch them back and forth. It was interesting to say the least.
Only the best on the Blades of Valor Tour 2026.
The one thing I do think that needs to be released are the photos that we took, the new photos that you took for the advertisement for the VRBO listing.
I'll redo there. I think we should get those online somewhere because those are some entertaining photos. We have some very good ones, some listing photos and the realistic photos of what you experience. So.
And as I recall, did you write the review or did Mike?
Oh, Mike wouldn't let me. I think he's something about his name being attached to the account. He didn't want what I was going to write.
About professionalism?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's how it started. And we were like, oh my gosh, what a way to finish. This tour has been incredible. And here we are in this freaking dump. And but it was close.
It was close.
To Coast Guard Air Station, Clearwater. And thank God we pull in there and it just changed us. I mean, we went from being very upset and grumpy and disappointed and mad to look at this operation here and the way we were treated immediately. And I know that has a lot to do with you, Scott, but everybody there, again, from every mechanic, every crew chief, every swimmer, every pilot, every command staff, we were welcomed with open arms and treated to a wonderful way to finish up. Talk about what you did, Scott, to arrange that.
Right. Yeah. I think the big thing with any of these shoots is, the availability of aircraft. And I think that the biggest shout I have out to the whole thing is the maintenance department for the unit. I mean, to be able to provide consistent up aircraft to do what we needed to do, my hat's off to them. And I'm so grateful for all the footage that you guys captured of everybody working inside the hangar. Those are some, for me, my favorite shots. The stuff that I included in the walk around videos were those hangar shots. That shot that we got of all of them standing there with all the tools. They kind of chuckled at the beginning
shot.
Of like, do we really have to do this? But all of them just loved how it turned out. So so that huge shout out to the maintenance department. But then it was trying to figure out, we've been with these different agencies. We've seen so many different ways of doing business. How can I show you guys something that is unique to what we do? And it's search and rescue. It's the maritime environment. So giving you the best granular detail of what we do for hoist operations, both day and then the opportunity to make that transition into night, which I don't think as a magazine, we've seen night shoots, but to get that night component of hoisting operations isn't done a ton, at least from vertical. So that was my goal, was to get a day evolution and a night evolution. And we did the air to air stuff in transit too. But for me, the cherry on top was getting that night flight and to get the night footage of those as the aircraft's making those approaches in with the basket to pick up are some of my favorite shots. I've never done that before. So to do it as part of the magazine was really cool, to get that for you guys. So that was the breakdown between those two flights. And then we transitioned into podcasting day 2. But that day 1, we had kind of planned in that second day for more shooting. Those flights were already on the schedule. But I think between making you guys wear the blue poopy suits, and it was hot by that point.
Yes.
Everybody, I think we logged almost 6 hours of flying that day. I think we were all pretty cooked by the end of that first day, but it made day 2 really productive to just focus purely on getting the podcasting done and all the other back end work for the shoot.
Jon, day 1, how special was that for you?
And that was a bucket list. I'll tell you right now, that was a bucket list flight for me. Flying 1 in a Black Hawk, but 2 a Coast Guard Black Hawk. I'll never forget sitting next to Brent with our feet hanging out the floorboard. Man, that was something I'll never forget. That was wild. One question I have to redirect to Scott. You've been to a lot of agencies as the photojournalist. What was it like for you now as the person hosting?
I think it's just a joy, but also it's kind of looking at through the dual lens of making sure that you see all these things and you kind of take for granted what you're doing, but make sure that it's communicated in a way that is understood by all, and try to show you something that's different in its own way. But I think it was a little bit I felt myself dual hatting a lot, because I still was that person at work, but I was also trying to help show what we do through the visual media side of it.
I'll follow up on that, Scott, because it's a great question, Jon. What was it like then being the videographer on your own unit, with professional photographers Mike Reno and Brent Bundy sitting in front of you on this bird? What was that like for you?
It was fun. I think a couple times I took a step back, and it was more just observation to get to see, Mike, your guys' names, you and Brent. I've seen that name on the magazine for so many years. So to be there, it was sort of that out of body experience to be now watching the two of them work. Like, okay, I actually have to get back to doing video, but it was there. I caught myself a couple times going, I'm like, is this happening right now?
Yeah.
So that part of it was sort of a full circle moment of growing up with these magazines and seeing these names to now everybody is in this aircraft right now.
Yeah, all together.
And all a part of that. So it was really cool. I know that's a really not the best word to describe, but it was just cool. It was just neat to be a part of that.
I will say this. I mean, I was the least busy of everyone in the back there, but I got to look at you guys and your faces a lot and see what you were doing. And I've had the opportunity now to see Brent quite a few times doing this. And he's got this look when he's taking pictures. He's got this look. I mean, where it is business. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's business. That day, in between those business looks, there was a smile that was incredible. Same thing with Mike. Yeah. Same thing with Jon. Same thing with you, Scott. And I know I was too. Brent, talk about that day as a photographer, sitting next to Mike Reno with your legs out of the cockpit, filming some incredible work being done by Coast Guard. Talk about that shoot for you.
Yeah, I've been, if you know anything about this industry, especially the aerial photography side of things, you know the name Mike Reno. I mean, he's a icon in this industry, and he started Vertical Magazine 25 years ago next year, so 24 years ago now. And I also had the opportunity recently when I was at the main office, Mike and I were going through a lot of his old photos. We were pulling out bins of old slides and 35 millimeter shots. We spent an hour just going through these photos, and to see the work that he's done, his library of work is unprecedented. So this is the second time I've had the opportunity to shoot with Mike on an aerial shoot. I did one for Hillsborough County a couple of years ago, also down in Florida. And yeah, I've done this for a long time, but anytime I'm on an assignment with somebody like Mike or somebody like Scott or somebody like Lloyd, it doesn't matter if I'm shooting the exact same thing I've shot 1,000 times, I learn something. You come out of it learning something. But that one was really special. This is the first time I've ever shot from a Black Hawk, or from a Jayhawk in this situation. First time I ever shot from the back of one. There are better aircraft to shoot from. As big as they are, the door isn't necessarily huge, but fortunately, Mike and I aren't really big people. So yeah, we were able to sit next to each other, dangle our feet out, and get these shots. And they're, like you're alluding to there, Jack, there were multiple times where Mike and I would just look at each other like, this is work. It's
shaking your head, smiling, going, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And then, and again, it's taking that level of excellence and going to a new level. Yeah. We would relate through the pilots over comms to where we wanted the other aircraft for the shoot, and it would be up 5, down 5, forward easy, back easy, and it was if we would tell them I need up 10 feet, that aircraft went up 10 and it sat there. There was none of this. There was no moving around of trying to get it when you hope they're going to line up with your camera. No, you would tell them up 10, nope, back down 5. He comes down and they hold it there. It was, as far as accuracy of where you needed the aircraft, these guys, the professionalism and their ability to be where I needed them to be to get the shot was easily within the top 5 of the hundreds of shoots that I've done. These guys were incredible, and they would even offer up things of, hey, do you guys want to put this in the background? We got this really cool beach over here with some iconic old hotels along the beach. So again, that goes back to that comfort level again. These guys are so comfortable. They're thinking outside of what they do. They're not sightseeing. They're not taking photos, but they know where these things are that might be good for a photo shoot. They did us that one, Scott, where we did the low flyby of that giant American flag. Mm-hmm. Just an epic photo and video that we got from that. And that was all day long. And again, to repeat, it was what else do you need? And we're like, that's one of only like 2 or 3 night shoots I've ever done. And they're like, do you want to keep going more? And we're like, I did nothing else I can do. We've got everything we could possibly want for this. So yeah, they were that, and all the way up to your command staff there, Scott. We happened to be there during a promotion ceremony for some of the officers there. And we met with your command there afterwards. And it was just like hanging out, talking with a few guys at the bar. I mean, they couldn't have been more open, couldn't have been more friendly. It was amazing. And I think we've all done work of some level on military bases before. It's not always like that. You don't always have that. I even felt weird wandering off thinking, am I supposed to be walking alone through this hangar or going back over here? And they're like, no, go wherever you need. Take a bicycle if you need one.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
And he did.
Oh, yeah. I did.
Watch the podcast. There's a lone bicyclist on a breakaway from the Peloton, and it might be Bundy. Ringing the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my gosh. It was wonderful. It was such a great way to finish up that tour. It's just so special. My first time in a Black Hawk too. First time hanging my feet out of a Black Hawk. I mean, just it was so special. And I want to mention, Jon, you were busy during all this stuff. When we're talking about these two pros here and Mike, photographies, but you are very busy on the camera as well, on your iPhone. You got some really cool shots that day with the reflection off of Scott's visor. I mean, and you were snapping. I'm going, what is he getting? And then you'd hold it up and show me, and oh my gosh. I mean, dynamite stuff. And Brent and Scott are nice enough to take some of the footage that we get and throw it in for 2 or 3 seconds into the final cut, which is very nice that you use our stuff too, the non-professional stuff. But talk about what you were doing there, Jon, and how much fun that was.
It was a blast. It's incredible what you can do with an iPhone. I think we've talked about that quite a bit. In a lot of ways, the iPhone's replaced a video camera and a regular camera body, and in all these ways, especially as an amateur for me. But Brent, you brought up learning as you go on these tours, and I've tried to learn as much as I can from all of you guys when it comes to photography and videography. It's just really cool to watch you guys do what you do, and then try and find some unique angles, and it was really cool finding that angle on Scott with that reflection. But yeah, it was an epic trip. That Coast Guard visit in particular was just, like I said, a bucket list. So thank you, Scott, for rolling the red carpet out. All the logistical work you put into making that happen was so appreciated. But it really highlighted the professionalism and excellence that your crews exhibit. It was really impressive.
Last thing I'd like to touch on in the time we have left is from Scott and Brent. Give our listeners just a quick thumbnail. That's going to be hard for you, Bundy.
Yeah.
A quick thumbnail of, you've gone out there for hours, hours. You got thousands of pictures. What happens next, and the timing, the time and work that it takes after the photo shoot? Talk about that quickly, Brent.
Yeah. On an average shoot, if you're up for an hour or so, hour and a half, an average air-to-air shoot, and you kick in whenever you want to here, Scott, I'm going to come back with between 2,000 and 3,000 photos. Mm-hmm. Those are not all going to be keepers. You're going to have some that aren't quite focused right, or you cut off a tail, whatever. Things you get inherent vibrations to the aircraft, so maybe your shutter speed was too low, and you're correcting those things on the fly. But you're going to come back with between 2,000 and 3,000 photos, and on a shoot like that, probably a couple of dozen videos that will range anywhere from 30 seconds up to 2-3 minutes long. So our job, and then the side thing is we're also writing stories on this too, but just from the video and photography side, what might take an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to gather that, the photos alone, if you're culling through 3,000 photos, that could take you a few days just to cull through those. It could take you 2 days just to decide which of, and remember, we can't post more than, we can't use more than 40, 50 photos at most from a shoot like this. So stuff's going on the cutting room floor that, 10 years ago, I'm like, man, that's a cover shot. And I'm throwing that photo away now. I'm not even using it. Right. So we have to, especially when we have this level of cooperation we get from these units, to put us in this position where you're getting so many good photos. So the narrowing it down, and then the editing of every single individual photo, and then it can take easily 2-3 days to put together the video. So there is a lot of work behind it. And remember, that's one stop. That's one day of one stop of 4 stops. So of each of those stops taking at least 2 days, plus you throw in the fly-in from. So there is a ton of background work that goes into it. But as fun as the being there on the tour, everything is, when you get to finally see that final product, when you see the effort, and again, it's a collaborative effort. I gladly use any video that you or Jon send me, Jack, and Scott's content is stellar that I use as much as I can when I'm putting the videos together. The satisfaction of seeing that final thing, and then to get the feedback that we get from our team, from the vertical team, the MHM team, and then when you start hearing from the personnel that were involved in some of these, like you said, Scott, the mechanics that we took the silly looking photo of that turned out great. And then you start to hear from the sheriff's departments that we visited and how happy they were with it. Yeah, it's hours and hours and days of work to get that final product, but it is so worth it. It is absolutely worth it in the end, and to bring the attention to these units, the well-deserved attention that every one of these units that we've profiled that they deserve. And if it helps them in any way, if they can take that video to a city council meeting and say, "Look, this is what we're doing for the public. This is what we're doing for our officers on the ground," and if that gets them an extra dollar of funding, everything that we do is worth it.
To piggyback on that, as much as I love the air-to-air shoot, where the real fun begins for me, the editing process for me, maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment, but especially on the video side, I started a lot of this journey in the photo world, but I kind of transitioned to video about 3 or 4 years ago. And that for me, the storytelling piece of, I've got all this footage, I've got all this interview content. How do I make this into something that is consumable? It doesn't run too long, but it's impactful. It doesn't go off on a tangent and tells a story that I feel it honors whatever the agency, whatever the overall theme is for a tour. That part of it for me is what I enjoy so much. So then that plays into each time I think I've learned something is how can I be as efficient as I can to make sure that I'm getting what I need, but don't overload myself where I'm in a position where I've got too much. So I think that's that constant balance of how much I shoot versus what I actually need to accomplish whatever my deliverables are at the end.
The amount of work is astounding. John and I talk about it all the time. At the end of the day, John and I are like, well, we got a couple things we got to do, but we know that you guys are working your butts off into late hours, and then you get home and do even more. You're doing it on the flight home, Brent. I mean, writing articles and editing photos. You're both very gifted editors, really good.
Thank you.
Lloyd as well. I mean, the stuff that you guys got, it's just amazing. John and I just smile and go, wow, we get to hang out with these dudes, man. This is pretty cool. We've got our own job to do. The podcasts on this tour were phenomenal. Every episode was great, both on the Hangar Z side, MRO side, but the content that you guys captured was incredible. And I just think it's important that the followers and viewers, when you're watching Hangar Z or you're reading these articles or you're seeing these videos pop up, this is every photo, every video is these guys on the tour. It isn't going back and trying to find something in the vaults and in the archives. It's stuff that they got. And it amazes me every time I watch. So well done. Really, really well done. Let's end with this. Let's go around the horn and just final thoughts of the Blades of Valor Tour 2026. Brent?
Oh, I get the easy one. I get to go first. As we talked about at the beginning of this, we started with John's idea. It was just a thought in his head of this thing. Let's show the value of these units and what they're doing, and let's just highlight them. From where we've come from that beginning to where we were this year, it went from 3 guys just running around going, hey, why don't you go do this and you go do this and we'll record this, to we arrive at a location dressed professionally with all the equipment we need, knowing our specific jobs that we're going to do, and the teamwork. To me, the biggest thing is the progression. I look back, I was just going back over some old photos from the first year and up to what we got this year, and that level of the professionalism that it has taken, it has progressed in just 3 years of doing this. I think it says volumes. I think it shows the value that this service that we are offering is providing, and I think it's a good sign of where we're going to go in the future with this, because I don't think there's any question that it's going to continue, and I think it's only going to continue to get better. It's going to take this whole thing to the next level, just as the Blades of Valor Tour turned into the Blades of Valor of everything from awards to other articles to different podcasts. It's blossoming into something that I don't think John imagined it going quite this far, but I think we're all thankful to, and me personally, I'm just thankful and just to be a part of it, and I'm already excited for next year. It's going to be a great one.
Great. Well said, Brent.
Thank you.
Scott, final thoughts on 2026?
I'll jump on the recognition piece. I think one of the things I came away was just folks for my work, just the patches, just how appreciated that was in my unit. It's become something that I think people recognize, and I think, vertical is the right platform to give a voice to these agencies that just has never been done before, and it's been done before, but not in the way that we've been able to capture it and being able to honor just incredible work across the country public safety aviation is doing.
Yeah, in that multimedia way.
Mhm.
It is unique.
Mhm.
It is unique, Scott. And welcome to the team in 2026. And we look forward to working with you again, Scott. It was great. Not your work with us, and your hosting work was fabulous, and it made this tour very enjoyable. We love hanging out with you, and thanks for all your efforts. Your
Thank you.
walk around pieces are off the hook, man.
Yeah.
You really make that some extra effort. You and Brent are really good at that.
Thanks so much.
Jon, you thought of this back in 23. Here we are, 2026. You've been involved in this from the day one, thinking about it to where it's at. What do you have to say for yourself, mister? This is incredible. But
Well, I think the word that comes to mind is gratitude. From the work that you guys put in from, the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed on the tour itself, the work that you put in afterwards is outstanding. Then you think about, Mike and Linda Reno, the investment they've made to highlight and promote excellence through the magazine, through the existence of the magazine, but now it's through Blades of Valor, really just focusing on the excellence that exists within our industry. I think is outstanding. Thankful for their investment in what it takes to make all this happen. I know it's not cheap, to send all of us from all over the world to cover these different agencies. Thankful for our sponsors now, Switlick, Dallas Avionics, ASU, you guys making this happen. And there's not a whole, we're not trying to make money in doing this. I think we're just trying to support the mission that surrounds highlighting excellence, So there's a few sponsorship positions available as we move forward. So if you're a company that wants to position themselves with excellence, I think this is the platform to do it. I got to say thank you to Derek Cast for seeing the vision in this, and really going out of his way to try and support this in the ways that he has. Our editors of the podcast, same thing for them. They're working double time to make this happen a lot of times. So Rob and David, thank you for the efforts you put into creating the final polished product of what this is. Just really cool. Again, I think the individual nominations are really cool. It's a neat addition to this. If you're a unit leader and you've got some good folks that are doing some good work, please submit nominations for these people. It's really important for the industry to recognize excellence. It benefits the industry, and it benefits those people's lives and their careers. So please submit those nominations. You can find those online at verticalmag.com. There's a whole website dedicated to the Blades of Valor Tour. So again, go to verticalmag.com. There's a sublink to Blades of Valor. You can scroll down and see the individual agencies from 2026 bound down to 2025, and hopefully we'll be adding 2024 in there at some point. And then I'll just tease a little bit for 2027 and beyond. We have some really cool ideas. Nothing's been solidified, but Scott's going to be in the picture at some point. I won't say more than that. So excited to see how this continues to evolve. The good work that we get to highlight and promote through this is just so cool. So thank you guys for seeing the vision and for jumping in and tweaking it in the ways that you guys have to make it what it is. Just so cool. So thank you guys.
Well, Jon, great job. Great vision on this. I'm not surprised that it's expanding in the way it is. It is incredible where it's come, and I didn't see that coming. But I'm not surprised that it's evolved and continues, and it's going to get better and better and better. I'm proud to be part of this team. I do the least amount of work on these tours, by the way. That's why I do most of the driving, because I feel like I'm freaking slacking compared to these guys, especially photography and video. I just sit there and go, oh my God, how do they do this? But I'm proud to be part of it, and I can't wait for what's next. So this is a special group on your screen here that really love this industry, want to promote it in the best way possible, and this particular year was just outstanding. 4 great stops with great people, great units, doing great work. And we're going to continue to do that, highlight that as much as we can on the Hangar Z. And Vertical has always done that, and they will continue to do that. So check out the videos. Go to YouTube. Vertical Mag has a great YouTube channel with some fantastic stuff from around the world, from Scott, Brent, Lloyd, and others. That's incredible to look at. Check out the videos and the podcasts from these tours on the Hangar Z. And we've met a lot of great people on those too. We didn't really spend a whole lot of time talking about our guests in the podcast on this recap, because you can go listen and you'll be stunned. Everyone, the Coast Guard, oh my gosh, the stories were amazing. So check those out. Go back and look them up. Thank you again, Switlick Survival Systems. Thank you, Dallas Avionics. Thank you, Aviation Specialists Unlimited. And thanks for the support, Masif. We appreciate it. With that, we can't wait for what the future will bring for Blades of Valor. Thank you to Brent, Scott, and the creator, Jon Gray. And stay safe, everybody. We really appreciate your support. We'll catch you the next time on the Hangar Z Podcast. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Hangar Z Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the personnel and equipment of public safety aviation. Thanks again to our sponsors. All of you, stay safe.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information. Thank you to our sponsor, CNC Technologies. CNC Technologies, serving law enforcement, government, and military markets with tailored mission solutions, system training, and live 24/7 support with CNC.live platform. Explore more at cnctechnologies.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Shotover. Shotover Systems is the leading developer and manufacturer of high-performance gyro-stabilized cameras with advanced real-time AR mapping and mission management, all backed by unparalleled custom training and support. Now offering the M2 multi-sensor system, sole 6-axis EO/IR platform with 4K Ultra HD color and infrared technology. Ideal for law enforcement and defense. Offered with real-time AR overlays to quickly identify streets, weather, and traffic. Automated license plate recognition, 24 megapixel digital photographs, and automated steering and tracking.